So Family Switch is a family comedy movie from McG, who I honestly think is absolutely brilliant. I pretty much love every single one of his movies. And I thought this one was really, really enjoyable. It feels very 90s with a bit of a modern twist, and is based on a very popular book from 2010 called Bedtime with Mummy, and follows the very typical tropes that a body switching type film / scenario would do. And I thought what was really different and really great about this particular one is that it involves the entire family instead of one or two people just being switched over. And every single character has something very important taking place, so they really do need to lean on the other person that has now taken over their body. So they really do need to train their parent / child counterpart in order to make sure that everything takes place in the exact same way that they would have made it turn out. But of course, there is a lot of lessons that they can learn from the other person's perspective, being in their shoes. So I thought it worked together really, really well. And I loved how every single character was really individual, a little bit stereotypical, but you can at least see where they are coming from. And so because of this, I think all of the actors did a really, really good job in terms of playing somebody completely different to form in terms of the character that they were portraying at the start of this film. So I think from an acting point of view, it's really, really good. And because of that, it's actually really believable in terms of, you know, these body transfers taking place. And it's a quintessentially family comedy movie, so it's really, really fun. It's got some hilarious moments in there, and you're kind of rooting for every single one of these characters as they are super likable. However, from a negative / constructive point of view, I do think that it is very formulaic, as you know exactly where it's going to end up, and you know all of the lessons that all of these different characters are going to learn. I mean, if that's what you want, if you want a film that you can pretty much just switch your brain off and just laugh and enjoy it, then I do think it is going to be really good for you. But I do think they could have just done a little bit more to make it a little bit more exciting. And on that point, they kind of play it relatively safe, as they definitely could have done a lot more outrageous and a lot more shocking things. I mean, one party scenario taking place at the end of this movie doesn't really service that, but at least they were consistent with the tone that they were setting in this movie. And I also think the humor is very slapstick based, and it could have been even more sophisticated. But like I said, if they were trying to make a true comedy movie that is really easy to watch, then I do think it is successful from that perspective. So now let's go through all of the actors one by one. So Jennifer Garner, who's become a real Netflix name now with the Adam Project and of course Yes Day. And now this one, I think is really, really brilliant how she's cementing herself as a true family comedic genius from a Netflix perspective. And this time she is playing a character called Jess, who's a little bit uptight, but also really lovable from a family perspective. And she is trying really, really hard to be a really successful parent, and also to climb the career ladder. And she just wants everything, both her family life and her work life, to be really, really perfect. And so all of the opportunities that you have with a very different type of daughter taking over her, I think, was executed really, really well in terms of how Jennifer Garner played these very two different type of people. We then have Ed Helms, who was actually also really, really good, as Bill, somebody who actually gave up on his dreams in terms of wanting to be a rock star because of his family. So I think it's really, really interesting where this character is coming from in terms of wanting to be a really supportive father, because this is ultimately the direction that he did do. But he's always having that itch at the back of his head of what his life could have been like. And so when he switches places with his son, I think all of those emotional moments are actually really great to explore. And then we have Emma Myers, who of course rose to fame playing opposite Jenna Ortega in the Wednesday TV series. And over here she's playing a character called Cece, who is a real football expert and really wants to get a football scholarship, A, so that she can pursue her dreams, but also that she can get away from her overbearing mother. So all of the lessons very similarly that she is able to learn when she switches places with her, I think is really, really good, and actually how she can broaden her mind as a result. We've also got Brady Noon playing Wyatt, and I think he is a really, really funny, really, really clever nerd type character, but obviously finds high school a little bit tricky and is getting bullied a lot because his mind is so clever. And his father actually absolutely loved high school and succeeded in this environment. So a lot of funny sequences taking place between these two characters. And what I also loved is that the baby and the dog also switch places, which I think is really, really funny and really, really unexpected. I didn't think that they would do anything with those two characters actually. So the way in which that takes place is really, really good. Especially as Matthias is also in this movie playing a bit of an uptight neighbour, but also a really good nanny. And a lot of the sequences involving the baby and the dog are involved with this character. And we also have a little bit of a fairy godmother who's a bit of a sage of wisdom and kind of causes all of this to take place because of the fact that the family were really dysfunctional in the beginning. So it's her mission to try to make them learn a lot of lessons because of it. And like I said, it's just executed in a really fun and funny way. The other supporting characters are really, really good too. I think the bully is a really stereotypical doofus type character, and they really could have made him a bit more sophisticated and mature. We've also got Ariana, who is the love interest to Wyatt, and I think they were really, really careful to make sure that they didn't make the same mistakes that Wonder Woman 1984 got criticized with, in terms of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman Diana Prince character kissing Chris Pine's character while he was in somebody else's body. So they were extra careful to make sure that they didn't make the same mistakes that of course DC did over there. And the workplace colleagues really do round together Jess's workplace scenario. So overall, I thought Family Switch was a really fun and watchable and enjoyable movie. I don't think it's quite at the level of being an instant classic like the other classic 90s Christmas movies are, but I do think it's a lot better than other Christmas movies, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Family Switch a solid 7 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Family Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.